Hey everyone, today we're going to be checking out a new addition to Patagonia's MLC lineup. This is the Micro MLC, which is a 22-liter convertible bag, so that means it can be used as a backpack, a shoulder bag, or a brief. And I was excited when I saw that this bag was released because I am a huge fan of the Mini MLC, which is the larger version of this. To me, that continues to be one of the all-time great minimal travel bags, and so I was very curious to see what the new form factor and size would include. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to test this. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, the style here is going to feel similar to the other bags in the MLC lineup, so it's a little bit more rugged and outdoorsy, but never feels overwhelmingly technical. So it's something that's going to blend in nicely into a lot of different environments and work particularly well for travel. As far as the materials, this feels really solidly built. The exterior fabric is a recycled 300D ripstop polyester that feels like it's going to offer a nice amount of durability and weather resistance. This reminds me of some of the fabrics that I've used in other Patagonia bags that have held up well as I've used them over the past couple of years. I also like that this fabric helps keep the weight of the bag a little bit more manageable. And then beyond that, you have some very smooth working YKK zippers all throughout. Continuing along the exterior, you have a couple of handles on the side and at the top. These have a nice durable feeling material. You have plenty of space to easily grab the bag, whether you're picking it up from the top or if you're using this in briefcase mode. You have the dual handles here so that you can hold the bag, and also when you open it up flat, you'll be able to maneuver it very easily with the two handles that have been included here. And then on the other side, you have a row of webbing that's going to be great for attaching additional accessories. And so this is something that will pair with a carabiner. So I will normally use these to store something like a hand sanitizer or clip on an extra pair of shoes or something that just doesn't fit on the inside of the bag. So you have one row here. But one thing that I was sad to see is that there's no external water bottle pocket, which is present on the Mini MLC. And so that's one of those trade-offs that you start to see with the smaller edition of the bag. And so although it's nice to have those lash points on the outside, it would have been nice to still have some sort of external water bottle pocket. And then on the front, you still have the pretty prominent Patagonia logo. And that's something that, I've gotten lots of comments on in the other Patagonia videos that I've done, is just that the branding is a little too big on these bags, as tends to be the case with some of the bigger companies. And so it kind of comes with the territory. Hopefully they continue to make that a little bit more minimal. This is something that I've just kind of accepted, with the Patagonia bags that I like to use. And so your mileage may vary depending on the styles that you like to use. And then the last thing I'll mention while we're talking about the exterior is that the bag has been pretty inconsistent as far as standing up on its own. I have been able to get it to do so a couple of times, but it feels a little slanted at the bottom, which ends up making the bag lean forward, which always makes me feel like it's gonna tip. Moving into the capacity, this comes in at about 22 liters, which to me is normally a great daily bag size. I was able to hold all the items that I normally like to carry with me for my day-to-day, and because of the layout, it can work quite well for minimal travel without feeling or looking overwhelmingly big or bulky. Now, I did think that the 22-liter size is interesting for the type of bag that this feels like it was meant to be, which is as a personal item. And I've used bags like this on a lot of domestic and international airlines without any issue, but for people that really want to make sure to stay under the limits that are set by the stricter airlines, this is going to be a little bit over those, particularly on the height. And so kind of wish that this had been slightly smaller just to make it an even safer personal item option, especially since the Mini MLC is already, a very kind of versatile size. And so, that'll really depend on your preferences, your height, and things like that, as I've mentioned in other videos. And I would be comfortable taking this onto pretty much any airline, domestically or internationally, but it is something that you want to keep in mind as you're planning your trip. Continuing with the harness system, so far the bag has been pretty comfortable to wear. This is another area where you start to feel some of the trade-offs with the smaller size of the bag. On the straps, you still have a nice amount of padding that feels cushioned. On the inside, you have a breathable material, and then these straps also have a pretty good width for the size of the bag. Now, I imagine as you really load this out and you're wearing it for a longer period of time, it might have been nice to have slightly wider straps, but generally, I haven't really noticed any issues. And then you have a couple of attachment points here near the top where you can hang your sunglasses or attach a light, and then an adjustable and removable sternum strap. And on the back, you also have a nice amount of padding that's well distributed, same breathable material here. And you have some slight elevation here to create a little bit of airflow. And you also have a luggage pass-through here that's gonna allow you to rest this on your suitcase while traveling to save some weight on your back. Now, I did notice this a little bit more on this version of the bag than I have with the Mini MLC, which is a little larger. I've never really felt the luggage pass through on my back, but here, I don't know if it's just because it's sticking out a little bit more or just the size of the bag is causing something to feel different. It's just something that I did end up noticing a little bit more, but glad to have this, particularly for the size of bag that this is. Definitely something that is great to pair with the roller. And then a part of the MLC lineup is the adjustability of the straps. And so you have these buckles here so that you can hide them away if you want to have a more streamlined look, or if you want to use the bag in briefcase mode, you can release both of the straps, and then you have the handles at the top. And you can also use this as a shoulder bag. And so the system that's been used here, I think, is a creative solution given some of the limitations as far as space and the sizing with the bag. And so once you've hidden the straps away, you actually have an included strap that's hidden here that you can pull out, and that is actually the shoulder strap. And so that's different than the way that the Mini MLC and the largest MLC do it, where they have a removable waist strap, which makes sense given the larger size of those bags. And so you can attach that to the bottom, give yourself some extra support when you're wearing this as a backpack, but it also is removable and then converts into the shoulder strap. And I like that a little better than this system here because it actually has some padding. Here you have very much a simple strap, which, you know, gets the job done, but it's not gonna be as comfortable, particularly when you really load this out. Since 22 liters is a capable size, this can start to feel a little uncomfortable. You can start to feel the edges pinching a bit, but if you really want to use this as a shoulder bag, it does include the option to do so. And so you have the ability to attach this here at the bottom. And then the length of the strap does a good job. You can adjust it a little bit with the backpack strap. And so you can wear this as a crossbody if you want to sling it around. You can wear it as a shoulder bag. And then if you want to convert this back to a backpack, you can tuck it away here in this slot. And so, you know, it still does a good job as far as functioning as a convertible bag, regardless of the mode that you want to use it in. But for me, because of, you know, the size and the comfort that's offered by the backpack straps, that's definitely the mode that I've used it in the most. Jumping into the organizational options, here you start to see some more of the differences between this and the Mini MLC. So on the front, you have a zippered quick access pocket that offers a nice amount of space and volume. I was actually impressed with how much this was able to hold and how much it comes up. And so you have this instead of the top quick access pocket that's on the larger version. And I think that this works well, particularly if you're using this as more of a brief or shoulder carry. You can reach down and grab this. This is also going to be very accessible if you have this on your luggage. And so at the moment in here, I have my sunglasses, and then I also have charging cable for my USB-C hub for charging my laptop and all my other devices. And I was even able to fit an Evergood Civic Access pouch 1 liter into this compartment. So great to see that the volume here provides a lot of flexibility, whether you're using this for travel or your day-to-day. No other internal organization provided here. And there's not really any other external compartments. And so the Mini MLC had a dedicated laptop and tech area, which I typically like to see here. That's all incorporated into the main compartment. And the layout here, I think, does a pretty good job as far as allowing you to, you know, use it whether you're carrying this as a backpack or as a brief. I do think that it's a little more optimized for briefcase carry, but if you reach in from the top, you can still access the laptop. It's pretty easy to get to some of these other compartments that we'll take a look at in a little bit. So they kind of mixed up the orientation on some of the compartments to give you options regardless of how you're carrying it, which I think is really good to see. And so opening this up, before I open it all the way, you can see that if I just wanted to access the laptop sleeve, I can do so. So if I have this on my luggage, I want to take this out while I'm going through security, I can pull it out. You have to kind of be careful with the edges here. We'll take a closer look at that when I open the compartment all the way up. And so given that this is a travel focused bag, it's great to see that you have this suitcase style opening. And then you have two sections here. On one side, you have kind of your primary packing area, and then on the other side, you have some built-in organization and the laptop sleeve. So I'll start with the packing section here, which has the zippered mesh divider, and I have this loaded out for minimal travel, and I was able to store a toiletry bag, an extra sort of Peak Design pouch, and then my medium-sized compressible packing cube from Peak Design. And so, this is great to see that the width here is able to accommodate a packing cube. This was something that I struggled with while using the 20-liter Alpha Pack from Cotopaxi, that it was a little bit more narrow, and so great to see that this is able to accommodate it. There's still some space here at the top, and so if you're wanting to use this as your minimal travel bag and the only thing that you're going to be taking with you, I think that it does a good job of giving you the capacity to do so. And then beyond that, you just have a really simple layout here, very open, and I like that you still have the option to store this divider away. You can open up this snap closure here and then actually roll this divider up, and then a little loop has been included here where you can thread this through and then snap it back closed, and now you have just a pretty simple open compartment here that will work well for storing all of your daily essentials. So this would be the type of thing where I could toss in maybe my headphones, a pouch or two, a jacket, and I'd be good to go as I'm exploring throughout the day. And then on the other side, you have some built-in organization, simple slip pocket here that's gonna be a good spot for something like a notebook, maybe a portable battery would slide in here comfortably. And then you have a zippered mesh pocket that I'm currently using to store a charging cable for my phone. I have my AirPods in here. This is oriented so that I could reach in from the top and grab these things when I'm using this as a backpack, and then a couple of small slots for something like a pen, a stylus, and then behind those you have a zippered compartment. That'll be a good spot for anything that you don't want floating around. This can handle a tablet. It's a simpler pocket, but it was able to fit in there. I actually left mine out just because with my laptop and all these other items and the packing cube, it started to feel a little bit tight. And so you just kind of have to think about how you want to pack everything out, but still nice to have the option here to separate out a couple of things. And then we have the laptop sleeve here on the back, which does offer some padding. This feels pretty similar to the sleeve that's in the other MLC bags. The one big difference that I notice is that it's not really pulled up off the bottom of the ground when you're using this as a backpack, or even on the other side. So on the mini MLC, there was a nice gap between the bottom of the bag, so it just felt like it had that extra bit of protection. I was a little sad to see that that's not really the case here. The sleeve and on the back, you still provide a decent amount of padding, but I would have liked to have seen these just pulled up a little bit more. And then this can handle probably a 15-inch laptop. I would say 16 maybe starts to feel a little bit difficult to manage as far as getting it in and out when the bag is zipped up. And so when it's all the way open, it's probably fine with a device of that size. But for me with the 14-inch, a couple of times I noticed that as I was pulling it out, the edges could kind of get snagged on the side. So part of that is just getting used to using the bag, but I think that the size of your device could also have an impact there when you're pulling out from the top as well. It feels a little more narrow. And so, that's something that you'll want to keep in mind depending on the type of laptop that you use. But for my 14-inch MacBook, works well. I can pull it out comfortably from the side, from the top. Now the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside. This does come up a decent amount, so if you happen to have a thicker laptop or you want to use a case to give yourself some extra protection, you should be able to accommodate it pretty well, especially if you're accessing your laptop while using it in briefcase mode or accessing it from this side, as you just have that extra bit of space. And so although I wish that the sleeve had been suspended on the sides to give you that extra peace of mind, with the padding that's offered here, it does still feel like your device is going to be pretty safe while you're on the go. And so in general, I think that this is an interesting layout, particularly for the smaller size that this comes in at. There are some trade-offs that are definitely made with the mini MLC that don't make it quite as fun to use as that bag. I think that this can still be a really capable option, particularly for anyone who's looking for something that's a little bit more compact, that's gonna be more personal item size, and that can work better as a daily bag once you arrive at your destination. It's still a flexible layout. It's gonna offer a nice amount of capacity and some useful organization, but as someone who's just gotten used to using the mini MLC, having the water bottle pocket and some of the added functionality. I definitely missed that here. And if you have the budget for it and you're looking for more of a travel option, I would probably opt to go with the Mini MLC, the 30-liter size. But again, if you're just looking for something more compact and EDC friendly, then this is still gonna be an interesting option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, you can currently purchase this on Patagonia's site or sites like REI and Huckberry for about $150. So to me, that feels pretty much in line with some of Patagonia's other backpacks. And it's definitely an investment, not cheap by any means, but it does feel like you're getting a pretty solidly built bag with a nice feature set that's also gonna compare well against some of the other similar bags in this price range. And so as I was testing this out, the first bag this made me think of is of course the Mini MLC, which I called out a couple of times during the video. That continues to be one of my favorite minimal travel bags. It's just super versatile. It comes in at 30 liters, so it's gonna be a little bit bigger than this. And the layout that has allows it to hold a surprising amount without looking overwhelmingly big. And the aesthetic on that's gonna be pretty similar to this. It's still gonna offer, the ability to be convertible into a shoulder bag, a backpack, a brief. I really like the system that's been included there because you actually have a waist belt that can be used as the shoulder strap. It's gonna be more padded than the one that was included here, and you can also fully remove it. And then beyond that, you have a dedicated laptop compartment that is padded, suspended. I think that one offers a little bit more protection. And so with the extra space, you just have some additional features, which I think really make it worthwhile to consider the larger version of the bag if you're looking for something that's travel focused. And so, if you like this style, if you're a fan of Patagonia's bags and you want a versatile travel bag, I think that's gonna be one of the best options that you can take a look at. The next bag this made me think of is the Cotopaxi 20-liter Alpa Pack Mini. Like the MLC line, the Alpa line from Cotopaxi has been around for a while, very popular travel option, and so it was great to see them now offer a more compact version that still offered a similar layout and build quality. And so that one was an interesting one to use because there were definitely some trade-offs made to allow the bag to be shrunk down, but it still offers a comfortable harness system, solid build quality, Cotopaxi's typical kind of fun style, and you have the travel-focused layout that opens the bag up like a suitcase. You have the two sides that you can use to pack things out. It doesn't really have a dedicated laptop area, so I was a little bit sad to see that wasn't included, but you still get external water bottle pocket, comfortable harness system like I was saying, and so it's a versatile compact travel option. And if you're a fan of Cotopaxi's bags, then I think that's gonna be a really cool one to consider. And then the last option that I'll mention here, if you have a little bit of a higher budget, is the Manal Daily Bag. That's a very solid compact EDC option. It comes in at 20 liters, but it has a very slim form factor and it's able to hold a deceptive amount with the clamshell style opening that it offers. It also has one of the best laptop compartments that I've seen on any bag. It's just really great how it suspends your laptop from all directions. You can access it from the top, from the sides. It has a tablet sleeve, and that one also has the ability to hide the straps away. If you want to carry it like a brief, I believe that Manal may also sell a shoulder strap if you want to convert it into a shoulder bag that is sold separately. And it's just got great build quality, super simple layout and aesthetic, but if you're looking for something that's gonna really keep your laptop protected and just have a subdued, clean style, and that's gonna be an excellent one to keep in mind. With that being said, the Micro MLC holds up pretty well against all those options, and although I'm not crazy about some of the trade-offs that were made with this smaller version and some of the features that were left off from the Mini MLC, I still think that this is gonna be a really interesting option for anyone who's looking for a travel-focused, compact option that you can carry on to lots of different flights. And I'm curious to hear what you all think of the Micro MLC and how it compares to some of the other popular travel bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank you for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.